I'm Toby Greene, Senior Research Associate with BICOM, and I want to tell you about our new briefing, which addresses the increased risk of conflict in the Gaza Strip. On the 31st of January, the EU and Norway will chair a meeting of the Ad Hoc Liaison Committee, an international donor committee, which will address, among other things, the crisis in the Gaza Strip. Now, it's unlikely this committee will be able to do too much to address the underlying political challenges, but there's just a chance that increased donor attention could reduce the chances of another conflict in the Gaza Strip. Since Israel left the Gaza Strip in 2005, there have been four significant rounds of conflict, as Hamas and other armed groups have used the Gaza Strip as a base from which to launch rocket attacks and raids through tunnels into Israel. Also, since Hamas took full control of the Gaza Strip in 2007, the economy and the infrastructure have collapsed. Gazans today get something like 7 hours of electricity a day, and the water and sewage infrastructure is barely functioning. Meanwhile, access for movement and people from both Israel and Egypt is very tightly restricted. Now, Israel supports in principle moves that would improve the infrastructure situation, including upgrading power lines which bring some of Gaza's electricity from Israel and converting Gaza's only power plant to run on much more efficient natural gas. But implementing these kinds of changes is very problematic. Israel wants to work with the Palestinian Authority and not with Hamas, which of course continues to be committed to Israel's destruction and which uses building materials which enter the Gaza Strip for military purposes. But the Palestinian Authority has only very limited control on the ground in the Gaza Strip, and it is in dispute with Hamas, including over who runs the Gaza Strip and who manages and pays for infrastructure and other public services there. Meanwhile, Israeli politicians are also under significant political pressure inside Israel not to be seen to give concessions to Hamas whilst Hamas continues to threaten Israel, and also whilst it holds up to 3 Israeli civilians and the remains of 2 Israeli servicemen as captives in the Gaza Strip. So if there's one thing that this meeting can do, it would be to refocus international donor resources and attention on how to fix these infrastructure challenges in the Gaza Strip whilst avoiding steps that will strengthen or empower Hamas. You can read this briefing and more of our resources about the Gaza Strip and the Israeli-Palestinian arena at our website www.bicom.org.uk.